Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 24 of our Small Business Breakthroughs. And our topic for today is my best networking tips. So, without any further ado, and to save my breath, let me pass over to you people to start with. What are your best networking tips? I'd love to hear them. Okay, let's start from there. Alan, you got your hand up nice and quickly. Okay.
Hi, Peter. Hi, everyone. Yes, my best networking tips are to participate in as many groups as possible. These can be to do with the niche which you're in, which in mine is property. It can be in other related niches like business networking, because you always find interesting people to talk to. And the more people you talk to, the bigger your network is, then the more likely you are to have interactions with people and follow-up calls and so on. So this is what I've been doing for a few years now, is building my network, and also trying to use the benefits of Zoom to actually speak with lots of people in different locations, as opposed to having to travel physically to a location to meet a relatively small number of people. You can, with Zoom, you can meet lots of people online, and I think it's brilliant the way things have evolved since COVID, the pandemic. It's pushed a lot of things online that weren't online before, and I think on the whole they're quite useful for small business owners. So that's my 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, Alan, because you mentioned online, because networking can be both online and offline, okay, when you think about it.
Yes.
And networking per se does not have to be actually within a group of people doing networking.
No.
Networking could be the fact of
True.
just building new connections, right?
Yes, yeah, true.
When you think about it, right?
Yeah, one-on-ones.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let's look at networking from two perspectives. One, if you do face-to-face networking, which is completely different to online networking. Okay, so what about that, Kristine? Do you do any face-to-face networking in terms of actually
In person? Yes, in person networking. Yes, I belong to a networking group here on the Central Coast of New South Wales, and I attend that once a fortnight. That's when they meet. They meet once a fortnight for a breakfast meeting. And I find that really good, because over time you get to know those people, but also because it is BX networking, it's a large organisation, it's international. I've actually done what they call an Excite talk, which is it's a 10-minute talk about what your business is about. It's not a pitch. It is simply explaining to people so they understand what you do, and how you can actually help people. And so I've done one in America. So that was a virtual, obviously, but when I go to my meetings here on the coast, they're in person, and I prefer meeting people in person. That's my preference, because I can see the whole person. I can see all their body language. When I'm online, all I can see is a bust of them. Right? So I'm missing their hand movements. I'm missing where their feet are. I'm missing a lot of cues about that person. You're with me? But when you're in person, you can see that whole body language. And it can tell you things about who you might be going to do business with. It helps to build a better rapport, perhaps, when you can fully see each other. And I also believe that there is an energy that you have, and you can feel it better when you're in person. You'll feel some online, but you won't get the full thing. So my preference is in person. But, the benefits of being online is that you can access a greater market. And I don't necessarily agree with what Alan said about going to as many as you can, because it takes a lot of time to go to these things, and you want to go to only those meetings that really resonate with you. It depends how they're run, because some are run better than others, and I feel I've felt myself that some I like the group of people better, and so I pick and choose which ones I attend. And when I feel comfortable, obviously I'm going to come across better, when I'm comfortable with the audience that's there when I'm speaking, or when they're speaking, I feel comfortable with their presentation. You know what I'm saying? So there's a number of things to consider. You don't want to waste your time in groups that don't really feel exactly right, because if it doesn't feel exactly right, you're not going to make the impact that you want. That's how I feel.
Bear with me. Let's just stick with the offline, not the online. Okay, we'll come on to online in a minute, but let's stick with offline networking.
Offline's great. I love it.
You're involved with BX and you enjoy that more, etc. But tell me, what tips would you give to people regarding optimizing offline networking? What tips would you have?
Is to be you, is to simply relax and be you, and don't try to sell to people, because people don't necessarily want to buy what you got. It's about connecting with those people, them understanding what you do. So whether they want your services or not, it's not the key point. The key point is those people have a network of their own, and they may be able to refer those people to you, or you to their network. So you don't necessarily go to these in-person events to sell to those people. Yes, you pitch about your business, you say what you do in a 40-second pitch, but it's not to sell per se.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? So it's about building these relationships, and because we meet the same people regularly, and we also have visitors from other BX groups. Some come from Sydney, some come from Newcastle, and somebody might be visiting from Queensland. So, and we have people from different parts of New South Wales usually coming to our event. So you can still access more people. So in-person events are still very valuable, in my opinion.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not saying they're not. I mean, and in my situation, being located in a remote little Thai village, the options for me regarding face-to-face events are very, very limited. In fact, non-existent.
For sure. Yeah.
So I can't comment from recent experience, but if I go back to when I was in Australia before, regarding networking opportunities that were face-to-face, if there's something that really sticks in my mind that worked well for me was, first of all, I was prepared before I went to the meeting. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to at least get 2 or 3 new connections with people. Okay. Secondly, I wanted to make sure that I did not monopolize people's time. Thirdly, I always wanted to be the connector. When I was there, if I was talking to Alan and then I had a chance to talk with Anna, and I felt that Alan could benefit from talking with Anna, I would introduce them. And I would spend more time introducing Kristine to Alan and Alan to Anna than for myself, because that worked for me, because all of a sudden people positioned you in their mind as someone who was some sort of leader, some sort of authority, even though you weren't trying to be a leader, you were trying to just connect people together.
Connect the right people.
And people appreciated that, okay? And the other thing I found was interesting was this. I always was the person to finish the conversation. I'm talking now face-to-face. I made sure I did not take too much of Alan's time at this event at all, right? And I was the one that suggested we should finish because I didn't want to monopolize his time. And what I would do is be something like, I'm thinking the words I used to use, I'm going back years now. Oh, yeah. Alan, if this feels okay with you, I would love to continue our conversation. Would you like to do that at some other time in the future? I just put that in there with Alan, okay? Because most people spend time, when they're in my days, I don't know whether they do that now, but they getting business cards and you go home with a pocket full of business cards, and it was a complete waste of time, to be quite frank with you, right? But if Alan had struck a chord with me, I would then sow the seed. I'd like to continue the conversation. What does he think about it? And if he said positive to that, I would finish the conversation then and there. But then I would follow up, right, with a handwritten note to him, for example. This is before Zoom and all this sort of stuff, right? I'd send him a handwritten note, or I'd give him a call, okay, saying, Alan, it was lovely to meet with you. Okay, thank you so much. When do you think can we get together? And in those days, this is before I had a Google Calendar and all this sort of stuff. So things were completely different. It was just the beginning of Skype days, actually, if I recall correctly, right? So, but I didn't use Skype either. I mean, it was face to face. Anyway, that's for me. That was some of the things that worked well for me offline. Does that make any sense to you? Is that out of date now, Kristine?
Yeah.
Well, no,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Kristine.
No, go on. No, I just wanted to clarify that when we were at BX, we actually, as a part of our meeting, is we sort of do speed networking, and we also so we get time with different people, but also when we hear people's pitches. Yeah, that kind of thing. And so when we hear people's pitch, they do their 40-second pitch, we can think about people we know in our network and actually write them a referral. So people in the group write referrals for each other, which is what you were saying you did. That's part of our meeting. That's part of what we do.
Yeah, actually, the other thing I found that was really valuable to me, and it will come to you now, was this: never ask people, "What do you do?" Right?
Yeah.
And use those words. Anna, what do you do? Okay. Bishakhaa,
Such a boring question.
Yeah. What I would do, I would ask something, and by the way, I would do this either online or offline. Instead of saying, "Hey, Bishakhaa, what do you do?" Okay, I would say something like, "What's something new that you're working on right now, Bishakhaa, that's exciting? I'd love to hear about it." I use something like that rather than "What do you do?" because it's pretty.
Yeah. No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
And over to you.
Yeah, no, I just want to comment on what you said before, and then I'll say something to what you said now. So, going back a few steps, you said follow up. That is so important for me, and I'm not good at following up. I mean, hands up, I confess. It's just I'm that type of person. I want to start as many as possible. Follow up, not my best ability, let's say so. But I've made it a mission for myself, and because I've got business partners and I've got responsibilities to get better at this. And I found that the magic is in the follow-up, because this is when you start actually building that relationship. Because, we've spoken to you, Peter, like it's the second time I speak to you, but I'm pretty sure 3 or 4 conversations down the line, it's going to be totally different. We're going to find out more things about each other. I'm going to I would have invested in me, I will know new things. So this is important, but again, it feels, especially in the beginning, it's a bit of a hassle, let's put it this way, because you do the same thing over and over again, especially when you're at a networking event. But that is so important. So I would follow up with a coffee, I would follow up with a call, I would follow up with an email, even though that's not exactly offline, but it's after the in-person meeting. And to what Kristine said, I'm extremely curious about the human nature in general, like body language, how people speak, what's the tone of voice, and I read a lot about it. So I totally am with you, Kristine. It is so important to see the person and feel the energy. It's like, what do you say? How do you say it? And actually, if I speak to you and I have no interest whatsoever in wellness, you will know. straight away, because it's going to be a different tone. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different Nana. Totally not interested, which is not the case, obviously. But that is something I keep reminding myself, and I keep saying to my son, even, this is important because it's actually the building blocks. So, leave the people in a better condition than when you've met them. So that's what it is. Whether you've given me more information, Peter, or whether, whatever the case might be, I'm in a better mood. So this is very important. And I totally agree with you. How do you do? Or what do you do? Or what's your business? It's such a boring question. I normally, and I've got that from someone called Vanessa Edwards. She's a professor. Well, don't quote me on this, but I think Harvard professor, behavioral scientist. So she says something like, anything exciting lately, or just to break the habit of what you do at the moment, or what are the plans for tomorrow, which is quite trivial. And that kind of helps you identify people you can align on, be it business level, be it energy level, be it, say, people who are, you have the same interests. And it's so important because these are the people you can build businesses with, you can build friendships with, and you can build a relationship in general with. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, that's a really clever point, Anna, because we should never assume everybody has the energy level to want to go in some sort of deep conversation then and there, or at any particular time, right? We need to pick up the cues. That's what you're really saying, isn't it, Anna? Okay. And I think we need to respect them for who they are. Okay. Sure, you may be impressed by Bishakhaa. Wow, I'd love to meet this lady. Okay. She sounds really good. But if she's not coming across in a way that is giving you that connection, doesn't mean that she doesn't want to connect. But just right now is not the time for her to do that. And you've got to respect those. That's what I feel. Yeah. That's how I believe. And the other thing that I found that worked, especially with offline networking, and again, I'm dating myself because it could be out of date right now. I know. But what
it's not out of date. It's still relevant.
I'd say, Anna, tell me something. Who would be a valuable contact for you right now that maybe I can find within the people I am associated with? Who would be a valuable contact right now? And I would go out of my way to try and find that person for them. Okay. And by the way, that applies to online and offline when you think about it. Anyway.
Yeah.
I like the idea of saying to the person, what's exciting that you're working on in your business right now. I like that because that person is going to have the energy to talk. Oh, well, I'm doing this, and their whole energy is going to be different, isn't it? Than I just do this and I just do that. Whereas they're working on something that is exciting to them. It's new. It's got potential, and they want to talk about it. And when people talk about themselves, you can learn a lot from them by doing that and listening to what they're saying. And I think that's a really good lead in to a good conversation, actually. Yeah.
And also offer to be a resource, as I said before, right?
Yeah.
I may know someone, Kristine, that could help you with that. Would you be interested if I could find that person for you? I mean, you've been the connector, so to speak. Anyway, Bishakhaa, nice to see you. Introduce yourself to the people here, and let's talk about networking as far as you're concerned.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Most of you know me, but for the people who don't know me, my name is Bishakhaa. I'm from India, and I'm a branding specialist. I work on LinkedIn and Instagram, both of these, to help people establish their brand, have a particular color palette, to build up consistency, and to reach a certain growth, and also get leads from there. So that's what I do. And as far as I go about the networking part, which Peter mentioned, I like to, connect really emotionally with people. And I don't know, I have seen people and myself also before I used to reach out to people saying that I can help you with certain things. But right now I have changed it to just, hey Peter, how are you doing? That's it. So simple. Just to make the person feel that she is not only coming for business, she is actually concerned, and she is going through my profile, and she knows what I'm posting, and she has gone through the post. She knows a little bit about what I'm actually doing and what are my point of views about it, gone through my comments. So I like to do a lot of research before I connect with people. And once I'm connected with them, even if that person is not a sale, if not even able to close it as a sale, but I still like to be in connection with them for a longer time, as far as I can, because I just get to learn a lot of things from them. So yeah, I just feel like there is no limit of learning, and we learn from everybody. So I take networking like that. So I just love learning. Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, just one more thing, Peter. We're talking about offline, sort of in-person networking, and one of the dilemmas that we're dealing with at the moment with the Property Investors Network that I co-host in Portsmouth is how to make people feel more comfortable and that they want to return to the meetings. What we do in the particular meeting at the moment is we've got a theatre style layout, and there's a point of discussion that people would be maybe more socially comfortable if they sat at small tables, as if they were just at a social event, for participating in the meeting rather than in this auditorium style. So it's just another aspect, another angle to the debate, really. How to make people feel at home and comfortable in the meeting, whatever it is that you're having.
Yeah, that applies both online and offline when you think about it, Alan.
Yes.
But it's true. I agree
Yeah.
with it. I think the word you're searching for is not comfortable. I think the word you're searching for is safe. Make people feel safe. Because if they feel safe, then they're prepared to open up with you. If they just feel comfortable, they may or may not necessarily open up.
Sure.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
That's
I would just like to mention that I do belong to a group, a networking group, an online one, and the same sort of people have generally been coming along, and of course the dynamics change because you get a few other people come and a few people drop out, you know what I mean? But there are a core group of people that tend to rock up regularly. And, the rules of this particular group are there is no selling in this group. No selling. It's about relationships and relationship building. And so that's the focus. And there's no posting in the chat for the first half of the session, which is an hour session. And that's because once you open up the chat, people go blah, 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 and they're not actually listening and they're not engaging. So the focus of this group is all about just relax, be you, and get to know each other. And recently I've seen a lot of people really relax, and they're joking, they're having fun. And we're seeing a different side of these people because at first they're all sitting, a bit stiff and not really opening up. But now you're starting to see their personalities shine through. And it's really very endearing because you're really getting to know the person. And that helps to build this trust, and I think that's where you have a really good relationship, when you trust each other, when you really feel like you know the person, you're starting to see who they are.
It's interesting. When I go, now we're talking online, when I go to online networking events, which I don't go to that many now, but when I do, I very rarely say anything. Okay, I very rarely say anything. I simply put in, love to connect with you, and I put my LinkedIn connection into the chat. Okay, basically that. I haven't been involved in the 7-minute, whatever you mentioned before, Kristine. I went to a couple of those, but and I know one in particular that you go to, but the time doesn't work for me. And also I feel uncomfortable doing 7-minute sort of things. I don't know. It's just me. I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just I feel much more comfortable in building a connection with people by being different. Okay, and by being different, it's not going into some networking thing and doing this is what I do, blah 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 blah. I mean, that doesn't fit with me, and I'm just showing my age. I know that, but to me, it's much better. I mean, LinkedIn is my preferred platform, right? I mean,
It's
Facebook
almost happy birthday time.
Yeah, well, yeah, leave that. You put me off when you did that.
Sorry.
My point is, I find and I enjoy connecting with people on LinkedIn in a way that is conversational, informal, very casual. Okay. And in fact, I've been using little things like cupcakes, a little picture of a cupcake. This is how stupid you can be, but it works, right? Okay. And I send a cupcake image to Anna, right? On LinkedIn, for example. And underneath the cupcake, I simply say, I'd love to get, it's got to be genuine. You can't be inauthentic here. I'd go to her profile and I'd quickly find something that was of interest to me. And I'd simply say, Anna, I'd love to get to know more about you and X, Y, and Z. And I promise not to cook you anything because I'm a lousy cook, especially cupcakes, LOL. Okay. I do that. It works. Okay. Because it's different to everybody else, right? Completely different to everybody else.
Yeah.
So, food for thought. Anything else?
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, to me, you've got to be different. I mean, right now, I don't know whether you're aware of this, but right now, Facebook, my account's been hacked on Facebook anyway, right? And Facebook groups are being closed by the thousand. I don't know whether you're aware of this. Over the last few weeks, there's been a huge purge
Really?
by Facebook. Yeah.
Wow.
By AI to close them down. And there's people who have had 300,000 and 400,000 members of these groups, right? Just boom, gone overnight. The whole thing's shot to pieces, right? So, secondly, I don't want to start a group per se on LinkedIn, which is my preferred platform, because they're too darn stale, to be quite frank. But what works for me in terms of building and networking, because I mean, networking to me is actually building new relationships, right? And building new connections. And what works for me is a LinkedIn newsletter.
Right?
Yeah. Reason for that is because if you're involved in any way, shape, or form with email marketing, you'll be lucky to get a delivery rate of between 3 or 5%. Okay, very lucky in this day and age. Whereas with LinkedIn, if you use a LinkedIn newsletter approach, and it's free, and they'll do the work for you, LinkedIn will deliver your message to your connections who are members of your newsletter, okay, using their domain name, and it is almost a 100% delivery, okay, and it's free. You don't do anything. LinkedIn does it for you. So when you think of that, the opportunities of optimizing your visibility, because that's the key when you think about it, optimizing your visibility and the chances of having more networking opportunities would be to use a LinkedIn newsletter with one caveat. And the caveat is this: if you aren't prepared to be consistent in the use of it, don't even start it. This is whether you do it once a month, once a week, if you did it once a day, I take my hat off to you, because that's a lot of work, right?
It is. Once a month is doable.
Yeah, I do it once a week, but I usually break it up with a little for about 60 seconds. And mine are simply conversational things about elements of having conversations with potential people. That's where my area is, right? And that's where the money is with most small businesses. That's where they muck things up because they talk to potential clients all the wrong way. So that's why I created a newsletter. And the newsletter is called Trust-Centered Sales, right? And that's what it is. It's all about building trust with people. Don't be over enthusiastic. Don't push people. Just be gentle. Just be natural. So that's one. One was the cupcake. The second one was the newsletter. And the third thing that really works well for me from a networking perspective is to actually go out of my way and promote Anna on LinkedIn. Okay, actually promote her without her knowing anything about it. I'll do it as a surprise. I want to give a memorable experience to people who I'd like to get to know. So I've got to give first before I get anything, right? So I will look at her profile. Sometimes I'll definitely endorse some of the things that she does, okay? But I don't want to endorse too many because I haven't had the opportunity to know her too well yet. And on a LinkedIn, just clicking an endorse click doesn't mean too much at all when you think about it. Okay?
Yeah.
But my objective would be to be in a situation where I could actually write Anna a recommendation. That's what I'd like to do, okay? In order to do that, I need to be able to get to know her in some way, shape, or form. So the best way to do that is to give something to her, and that would be to promote. And that's what I do. I would actually create a post, and it wouldn't be Anna on her own. I might do Bishakhaa, I might do Alan, I might do Anna, and I do 3 or 4 people. And I will say, these 4 people impressed me, okay? When I read their profiles, this is what jumped out at me. And I will look at their profiles. And you need to, and remember, these are people who you are genuinely want to get to know. Not get to sell to, but get to know because they could be valuable people to be connected with. That's the whole point of it. You need to serve them, not to sell them. And I will look at their profile and I'll look at the recommendations and the words that people used when they recommended Alan. Okay. Or I look at the posts they've given and I'll comment on some of their posts, and you can do all that from their profile. But the idea basically is to then for me to create a post, and I do one of these every month, and I take 4 or 5 different people who are interested in getting to know, and I'll do a promotion deliberately for them. So you be a giver. And you know what? It works every single time. I don't mean, and my outcome is not getting new clients. My outcome is getting valuable, new, interesting connections. That's the difference. Okay? Because you don't know what doors of opportunity can open that way. Food for thought.
Very good.
Any other ideas? Bishakhaa, you're a social media guru. Come on, you must have some more ideas.
I mean, I have so many, I cannot stop talking about it. But yeah, my brain is not braining this week, what happened. So I just can't talk a lot, I can tell you a few of them, which I personally use. That, yeah, I do not like to sound very like someone, I don't like to come across as an, somebody who likes to talk in a very big words, like to use very big words while talking to people. I talk to them in a very normal way, like we casually talk, because they shouldn't feel like, I'm not approachable, they shouldn't feel like that. So I always talk to people in a very casual manner, just to make sure that it's not overwhelming in any way. And I also like to really connect with people in a way that they can feel comfortable to open up with me about their businesses and offers. So it really matters, because I have worked in like outsourcing calling centers before. I used to talk to so many people every day, like 100 200 people every day. So yeah, I really like to connect emotionally also, and with business also. So yeah, that's something.
Bishakhaa, let me apologize to you.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
No, I respect. No, I won't say too much. I mean, Bishakhaa is not a client of mine. We just connected on LinkedIn.
I'm
Maybe
so
what?
sorry. I'm not prepared for the topic for today. I didn't see the topic. I just started talking about it right now because I didn't get time to prepare for it. I really apologize for that.
No need to apologise. All I'm saying is, I mean, we're talking about levels of energy. You've had a death in your family. Okay, I know that, and therefore I respect that. I should not. I'm the one that should be apologising to you. So I will take back the
No.
request.
No, Peter, please don't. Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
just being the Uncle Peter, right? I mean, that's all it is, though. I want to make sure I don't interfere in any way, shape, or form. All
No,
right.
you're the sweetest. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Otherwise, we'll call it quits today. Any other thoughts from a networking point of view that works for you? Is it from tips that work for you?
Make sure that you engage with them every day if they are your potential clients. Like, make sure you shuffle your potential clients' links to, profile links, shuffle them in a week, and make sure you engage with them every day. Yeah. that
Good.
helps.
And also respond to any comments that they make.
Yep.
And the thing that I have found valuable, if Alan gave a really good comment, I would respond to it. But then I'd also leave him a voice message. Alan, wow. And I would use the words that he used, right? To let him know that I truly appreciated what he did on my post. And because he added value to it the way that he did it. And sometimes I've even done a video message as well. Because you have to use your phone to do that. And I'm a technophobe, but I can do it, but I'm not real good at it. But again, what are you doing that? You are actually giving people a memorable experience with you. That's what it's all about, right? So good. Anything else? All right. Well, I must say thank you. Thank you, Kristine. Thank you, Bishakhaa. And my thoughts go out to you and your family for what you're going through right now. Okay. And I'd lovely to see you. And Alan, thank you for joining as well.
Thanks,
And
Peter.
hopefully-
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
hopefully we'll
Likewise.
catch you.
Have a good day, guys.
Okay, see you next
Nice
week.
to see you, Anna and
Bye.
Bishakhaa.